morning, Muscatine. Third time's a charm. If you've seen us pop on and off this morning, for some reason YouTube wasn't picking up the audio, not entirely sure what's going on. So if you can't hear us on YouTube, hang out. We'll put up a full one with the audio, but we're just gonna roll because I'm not gonna fight YouTube. They always win. Happy Halloween. It's the 31st. We are down to 2 out of the 35, 40 Halloween events that we had here in Muscatine this year. Aspire from 4 to 6 has a trunk or treat, and then from 6 to 8 tonight is the biggie. It's the citywide trick or treat. Bundle up, it's gonna be chilly. I will be chilling in the garage on Allen Street, watching everybody else freeze their butts off. So that's how I do Halloween, and I would suggest that's how you do it too. So as for the third time today, I have John Dabeet here with me. How are you, sir?
Very good. Very good, Chris.
And this is part of our Discover the Candidate series, which we invite every candidate for school board, city council, mayor, all those positions to engage with us a couple of ways. They complete a candidate profile that we put out so you can kind of get all the basic information. They come in for a formal interview where they all get the same questions, and we'll be putting those out over the next couple days so you can see each candidate's response to the same question without being able to hear what everybody else said. And then we invite them to come in on the Muscatine Today Show for a little more relaxed conversation so you can get to know them a little bit. So the one thing I also like to do is let you know that most of these candidates, actually all but one, I've known for a long time. So if you see what looks like a really cordial, lighthearted conversation, that's why. You know, Karen Cooney, I've known forever. The guy coming up next, I've known. I was thinking about it. It's got to be like 6th grade is the only number I can come up with. We'll see what he says in a minute. But John, I've known you since all the way back in 1997 when I was a freshman in college at MCC. So John was my macroeconomics teacher and then later statistics. And we've just managed to keep crossing paths in the entrepreneurship world and things like that for the last, I'm not going to say how many years. So if it looks like we know each other, we do. So how are you, sir?
Very good, very good. Halloween day, so I suspect everybody should feel good, right?
I would hope so. If not, they're going to feel better tonight for a very short period of time when their sugar goes pew and then bloop, but we'll see. So if you would, for those that don't know you, introduce yourself, a little bit of your background, and then we'll kind of swing over into your experience on the school board and where you kind of want to go from here.
Good morning, everybody, and good morning, Chris. First of all, I'm very happy to be on your show today. And again, my name is John Dabeet. I moved to the United States 35 years ago from my native country, Palestine. I graduated with a bachelor's degree from Bethlehem University in Bethlehem, Palestine. And then I decided I want to continue my graduate level studies. So I moved from Bethlehem, Palestine to Bethlehem, Pennsylvania to work on my graduate studies. Then after I finished my study, I got to teach for 4 years almost at a college in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania before moving to Muscatine, Iowa. It has been 28 years. I remember that day when I moved to Iowa and thinking that it will be a year or two and then I'll move back to the East Coast. 28 years later, I'm still here. So obviously my wife Abir and we have twin boys, 14 years old, freshmen at the high school. It's hard to believe that they are
I remember when they were born, I remember like you were like Captain Happy and like, but yet you could also see this like fear of like, I have two at the same time.
At the same time.
I couldn't do that.
That was really an amazing experience. We learned a lot from it too, but we also cherish every moment that we spend with them. So they are very active, doing very well in school, and one of them has been playing bass with the orchestra for the past 4 years and planning to continue. And the other one is in sport, playing basketball. And I would say the big surprise for me that the coach spoke to him and asked him to start playing football next year. I think he's built well to play football. He's like 6'3".
Yeah.
And taller than me and almost double the size of me. So, so he's ready to play football.
Good call, DJ.
Yeah.
That's,
yeah.
Good job, Coach. We need him.
Yeah, yeah. So they're doing very well, and that's what's important. You know, we want them to experience everything, every possibility that we have. We travel, we take them around, we show them around. We want them to see the world and learn from many things as they experience that at a very early age. And this is part of it is why I serve on the school board. I want to bring opportunities for our students, regardless at what level, so that they will experience certain things that they might not experience. For example, if we don't have that connection to sister cities, for example, the Stanley Center for Peace, and all these organizations that are trying also to help introduce what I would say the world to our students here in Muscatine.
So this would be your third term. You've served 8 years previously. What, as you look back over the last 8 years, what are some of the things you're most proud of? And what are the things you're looking forward to over the next 4 years if you're elected?
Yeah, that's a great question, Chris. Obviously, you know, just serving others makes us all proud, because it's not that easy to make that decision and run for a public office. So once you are elected, you have to give full attention to the people who elected you and the people who didn't elect you also, because now you are representing all. And in my past 8 years serving on the school board, every project and every vote that I voted on, I'm very proud of, because my guidelines usually behind any vote is, are we providing our students, our teachers, our schools with a safe and learning environment? If the answer to that is yes, my vote will be yes for that too. So, you know, we have a district to be proud of. In the past year and a half to next year, a district of our size, which is unheard of, to end up spending almost $27 million on expansion. That's unheard of. So we all have to be proud of. Why we do it? Because we want to provide our students, our school system, teachers, staff, everybody, with a very positive environment. We want them to feel proud of who we are as a school system. So that's one thing that I'm proud of. Another thing that I'm proud of is, again, throughout the 8 years, is that turning the school system or the school district to offer more and more opportunities to our students to become part of or take part of the academy at MCC is something to be proud of, because now you are preparing those students to what I call a better future, because again, they are taking a college level courses. You are preparing them to continue their educational journey and succeed as they started that at an early ages while they are in school, let alone they are saving time, they are saving money, and so on as they are doing that. So this is another thing that I would be proud of as a school board. But as I said again, you know, working with the team, with the board, with the school board members, and really taking things very serious when we make any decision is also to be proud of. From, you know, like changing sometimes, you know, looking into the curriculum and find out, is this the best that we can have, or or let's have a study, let's review, let's make different decisions. And that's what we did recently as a school district. And the reports that we are hearing from teachers themselves, that they are definitely enjoying now the new system, they are enjoying, and they are seeing how that new curriculum program is making a change in the lives of our students, in the learning. And we are in that business, the business of teaching and learning. And if we see a positive effect on what we are doing, that's a success for us. So I always tell people, we need to be proud of Muscatine. We need to be proud of our school system. We do have a strong school system, and we want to always talk about the good things, the positive things. That doesn't mean we don't fail sometimes. When you work, you fail, right? To be realistic.
Fail fast.
Yeah, but you learn from failure and you move forward with a better movement. And that is very important, right? I see across your laughing.
No, so I'm laughing because I hearing you talk about that, I flashed back to one of the exercises John had us do in, I think it was microeconomics, I would imagine, was this paper airplane assembly line business quick simulation. I mean, it was all in one class period, I know that. But, we got into teams and we, created an assembly line, and we kind of priced things, and you kind of base it on how many you think you can get into, you create as many airplanes as you can, and you get so many points if they go in and not if you don't, whatever, to learn about waste and effective use of, and actually getting it where it needs to go. And I think back to that because I actually did it twice. I think we did it in both classes. And the second time, obviously, my team did really well because I'd been through it once, and I'd seen what all they did, and I'd seen all the failures. I remember the first time, we sucked, because we were all trying to decide which kind of airplane do you make, and all this other stuff. And then the second time, I was able to sit down, guys, I did this last semester. You try and make those, doesn't work. We're gonna do this is what works. And then it was just boom, 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 boom. And we racked it up. And so that failure isn't a bad thing.
No.
What you do with failure is critical.
Exactly, and that's what I call learning. Again, so with your example, Chris, it's we are there. We have a platform when we are in schools and colleges, and I always encourage students not to be afraid of trying. It's okay to fail, but it's okay to learn from it and do much better after that. And this is the platform that we should be very proud of, because that's what education means. Education is about trying. Education is about succeeding and sometimes, and failing sometimes, and learning from our failures and so on. And this is something that I always think about. So providing our school system and our students with the opportunity to take college level courses while they are still in school is a great opportunity. I mean,
that would have saved me. As you mentioned that before, it's something I've been impressed with since it started, because I think back to my junior, senior year. I went hard my freshman, sophomore year. I got a bunch of credits junior year. I could have graduated probably at semester if I would have paid attention or whatever. So my senior year, I was hardly there. This is before open campus and all that other stuff, but still. And then I also think back to my first year or two at MCC. I probably could have cut a whole year off of that if I would have just had those opportunities, because I guarantee you my parents would have been like, oh yeah, no, you can do nothing, or you can go take a class at MCC. Yeah, I guarantee you I would have been taking a class at MCC.
And that is true, Chris, because now with the academy agreement with the MCC, students can finish 30 credit hours while they are in school, and that's full year.
Yeah, that is a full year.
So you're saving time and money.
Yeah,
exactly.
So as you kind of look over the next handful of years, what are the things, what's one thing that excites you, and what's one thing that concerns you a little bit?
Let's start with the concern first, because the less and less support for public education and less funding for public education concern me. Let's face it, we as a school district, we basically represent the public education, the public schooling. And you know, when you take money out of our tax dollar that should go into public education, that starts concerning me, because that translated into perhaps maybe cutting some programs and so on. Thank God so far that we are a district to be proud of, that we didn't do anything, and we always, as a board, with the administration, we always work together in a way so that we continue to keep all our programs and didn't cut anything. But that is a big concern for me, because you know, public education is important, because in a public education setting, you are providing everybody, regardless who they are, with the same opportunity. We don't have the privilege to say, yes, Chris, we will accept you, or no, Chris, we don't want to accept you into the school. We cannot do that. And that's why, you know, that's something that I would be concerned about moving forward. Hopefully things will change, and the funding and the support and so on continue to be a strong funding and support for public education. That's one thing. What I will be proud of is to continue what I started with the rest of the board members in bringing our school district to become very competitive and one of the best school districts in at least, let's say, in the state of Iowa. You know, we need to provide our students with what I call a quality education in a way so that they become very competitive globally. Because let's face it, the world is becoming a small village now. So we cannot just teach them and get them ready to be here in Muscatine or to succeed in Muscatine. We need to make sure that they are ready to succeed anywhere they choose to be at, and that's very important. You know, another thing that I think of is you know, if the people decided to re-elect me for one more term, that gives me also a chance in my 4th year of that term to hand my kids their own diploma. I have been doing that for several years, handing that diploma to many hundreds and hundreds of students. So it will be nice also to have this opportunity to be at the stage handing those diplomas to my own twin boys too, cool, as they will be crossing the stage and graduating that year. But you know, every kid, in my vision, every kid for me is like my kid. Because you know, that's the reason why I spend all my life in education. I call education as my career. You know, I started as a student many years, obviously. Then I decided to stay in education and continue to teach. You see, the biggest and the most important moments for me as an educator is seeing my students succeeding, seeing them learning about their journey and what they achieve in their life. Because their success is what I call my success after that. Because when you are in education, it's different than being anywhere else. You know, I remember my dad, God bless his soul, he used to tell us this growing up. You know, and he was a linguistic teacher. He spoke 5 languages fluently, and I'm talking about the proper language, not the street language, and that's what he used to teach. So he used to tell us, it doesn't matter what you want to do in your life, you go and finish your education, because no matter what happens, no one can take your education from you. So we learned that at an early age from our dad, as a matter of fact, and that's very important thing. And he used to say that, you know, as a teacher, you stay all your life as a teacher, but guess what? The outcome for you can be an engineer, can be a doctor, can be a teacher, can be a president of a country or a minister or anything. So yes, I do believe. I spend my life in education. I continue to teach, but I hear some of my students became doctors, some of them became engineers, some of them got a degree in business, some of them, became active in politics and so on. And I think that's the beauty of being in education, is that you always see that very clear, and we should consider that and we should count that as part of our success story for those of us who are in education.
Okay, so speaking of long-term effects, last question is going to be the toughest one. Who was your favorite student?
I was planning to say Jeff Kaufman. No, that's my joke. I'm sure you remember Jeff
Yes,
and I
yes.
have always that rivalry thing
Yes.
at MCC in a very funny way that our students always loved that. Chris.
This was supposed to be an easy question, folks.
And
this is
John.
Chris,
I'm very proud of you, right?
There we go.
I want to say that, but also I want to say this here on your show.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, every student that I taught in my life became a major part in my journey. I am who I am because of you guys, because of everyone who took classes with me. Education is not one stream. Education is always a double stream. It's two-way stream. I learn from my students, same way my students are learning from me. And I'm hoping that all of us in this profession think of our student this way. It is very important to understand that when you are in education, you have really a great, what I call message, a great calling for you to share everything you know with those people and make sure after that they are doing very well as a result of that. So every student of mine is a great success story for me. I'm very proud. And Chris, as I always say, I'm always proud of you. and the reason why, because again, I see your success story in what you are doing today.
Yeah. Oh, it was supposed to be a nice, easy question, and there it goes. No. And the one thing I will say, I do try and give a little bit of insight, and the one thing I will say, I vividly remember when I went in as a freshman, how available you were. And I will say this, he's not joking when he says he's available. I completely remember that in stark contrast to many others, especially like when I went up to Iowa and stuff. So thank you for what you've done at MCC, and obviously thank you for your time on the school board. Good luck next Tuesday, and we'll see what happens. But I'm sure I'm going to run into you one way or another.
For sure, Chris, and thank you for, again, inviting me to be on your show today. Thank you, and thank you, Muscatine, for giving me the opportunity to serve.
Awesome. So we will be right back after a quick break with another Muscatine Community School District school board. Oh my goodness, so many schools in there. Matt Miller, who I'm going to put him on the spot as soon as he comes on, and he doesn't know it yet. You'll want to see it. See you in just a minute.
We've all been through a lot together, and along the way, you find out who really cares for you and who you can trust. Because there's a lot of stuff that happens in life, like those days when the amazing happens, or those days that are really, really hard. That's why you need someone like UnityPoint Health. Because when it comes to your health, you gotta have someone you you can trust. Unity Point Health. Know how much you matter to this world.
You know Rivo as expert plumbers, but did you know Rivo can also be your one source for complete bathroom and kitchen remodels? With professional craftsmen doing the job for more than 30 years, experienced in tile, carpentry, and of course plumbing, Rivo can transform a dreary basement into an elegant bathroom and upgrade a worn-out kitchen using inspirational design and quality brands. Before you stand in line at a big box store, call Rivo Incorporated and see how a hometown professional can refresh and improve your home.
And welcome back. I have, as I said, Muscatine Community School District School Board candidate Matt Miller here with me. And as I kind of mentioned, I try to make sure that you guys understand the relationship that we've had. And we've known each other since it had to be early middle school, right?
I'd say early middle school, Central.
And so I'm going to cut to the chase. I'm going to put you on the spot on something school district related. I want you on the record. I asked him just before we came back from the break how much he trusts me, and he said, well, the lights are on now, aren't they? Yeah. So here's the thing. Would you be in support of bringing back Justin Siwasink as the gorilla mascot at basketball games?
Oh, man, it's crazy because I don't the support of it, I'd go buy the suit. I was talking to the wife the other day. It's crazy you say that because we were at a football game here not too long ago. And I'm like, man, I can remember Justin like running down in the gorilla suit right down there. It was the greatest thing. I'm like, our kids need to get back and doing that stuff. It was awesome. I don't know how that would work today, but it was great.
Because we often talk about, and one thing I will say, because we broadcast all the sports and stuff, we had a great student section, but it was totally different. Like ours wasn't as organized as these guys. Like if you go to a high school game now, like they have planned themes for everything. Like they have like a construction night and they bring in like handmade signs that are like yield to the like it's crazy. We didn't do that. We just had Justin. I mean, we had Cy. Like we had Cy. I have no idea where the gorilla costume came from.
Knowing him, it's probably in his closet still, and he's got it.
I guarantee you it is.
Yeah.
I guarantee you it is. And so that was how we had fun. We watched Justin fly up and down and
in all sporting events. It was amazing. It was great.
It didn't matter. He was there. It was a good time to be a Muskie in the late 90s. So now that we've got that out of the way, I'm going to hold you to that.
I appreciate that's what.
I'm going to hold you to that. Cy, if you're watching, call me. Well, I've got, dude. You could even be. I got the Abominable Snowman. You could do that one in the winter. We got Olaf. We got a ton of stuff down here you could do. So anyway, that's not why he's here, actually. So Matt, if you would, for those that don't know you, give them a little bit, introduce yourself, a little bit about you, and then we'll dive in kind of like why you're running for school board.
Sure. Well, first off, thanks for having me down here on this show. So I'm Matt Miller. I have been in the community for 45 years. It's the community I was born and raised.
He's older than me. He's older than me.
Yeah, that's true. But you know what? It is. I have 4 children that are active in the schools here in the community, and I feel like there's just between them playing sports, between just the outreach they have through the FFA, there's so many outreach they have in our schools. I want to make sure they're getting exposed to those, and I'm able to do that with the 4 children we have currently that are in the school district. My wife works in the school district currently, has for the last 8 years. Also been a large. She's a first responder, has been a firefighter here, so she's devoted to this community just as much as I am, and just really feel like it's time to give back to the community, and I think I can do that through our school district and being on the school board, and just helping grow our schools overall.
So as you look to the last, let's say, handful of years, right? Obviously, there's been some things that are like, hey, you know what, here's something that I think we can improve on. And, it's always tough because schools are, and we've talked about this, sometimes they can be tough to like measure in certain ways because, there's so many variables. It's not always like a production line where you can just, but what have you kind of looked at and said, hey, you know what, here's something that I think we could do better. I think, maybe I could help. What are some of those things for you?
Sure. I think one of the biggest things is we have to set clear and concise expectations across the schools. That starts in our elementary, it goes all the way through the high school, right now there's so many differences of what I do in a junior high, and then I go into high school. Even if we just talk about how I have to get a hall pass to go somewhere, the differences from junior high to high school just causes that much more confusion. I think by setting some clear and concise expectations, it makes it really easy for children from the elementary level through the high school to know what's expected and what those kind of guidelines look like. Unfortunately, I think we've left it so open that there's a lot of gray area. So that gray area allows for way too much play to go in. And we have to get to where the students aren't running our schools. This is a thing that parents need to be involved in. I will be pushing to get parents involved much more than what they are now. And I also feel it's a thing of where staff need to involve themselves more, knowing that they have the support of the school board behind them. They have the support of the administration behind them, which I feel we have lacked over the last few years. And I think it's a push that we need to go after here now and make the change so that we're not sitting here in 4 years, 6 years, 8 years, still trying to come up with a handbook that we don't need to be developing anymore. We need to set it and move forward. Times change, but that doesn't mean that we have to change our overall expectation.
Fair enough. Makes sense. I mean, stability is a good thing.
Yeah.
So as you look, a handful of years down the road, pick a time frame, 5, 10, what do you so you kind of get those like guidelines set, get that. What are some of the things after that that you kind of say, okay, this could be something cool for Muscatine, for kids, and how it can all kind of come together?
I think we already have a lot of things in place that are cool for the kids. I think where we miss is our feeder programs coming up into even our sports. When we look at the Youth Sports Foundation that's in Muscatine, it's a huge program. I've been part of coach with it. I know you've participated in that. You probably still do. Your kids are young enough to still do that. Yep. I think we need to be working as a school district, bringing those feeder programs in. And what other things like youth sports can we bring into this district to help grow those at a younger level? Junior achievement's a big thing. Do I think that we can start that even earlier on and see, through a early learning area where that can come into play? I think that would be beneficial. So those would be the things. I think feeder programs are great, and how do we support that as a school board? How do we support that as a district? I also think that one thing is, how do we retain staff? I've heard so many candidates talk about, well, we have to do housing marketing, what are we gonna do for the housing? And to me, I'm not gonna fix the housing market if I can't retain staff and I can't retain students here and they wanna go somewhere else because of whatever, an academic change or a sporting opportunity they get somewhere else. We need to be the leader in our overall sports, and how do we do that is through feeder programs and working together as a community.
Yeah, and that's one thing that's interesting. We talk about, and in the interviews we'll talk about declining enrollment, you'll see, and also with like some of the city council candidates, we talk about, housing and like these sorts of things. And it is it's a tough, multifaceted problem. And, it's like a big circle that everything comes in and goes out at different spots. And we've got to find a way just to make the whole circle bigger. Like the school district has to do their thing. The city has to do their thing. The county has to do their thing. Individual businesses, everybody has to pull together, because there's no like set game plan. If you do A, B, C, and D, that it works. And that's where I think, to your point, every student, every parent, every teacher, they all have something different that excites them. Whether it's, my son is into sports, a lot are into band, whatever, right? To where you have all those things and you're doing them all well, so that everybody feels like they've got something they can excel at, and we've got the support to do it.
And I think that's a great point you bring up, because when you bring up the band and the orchestra, we have one of the most elite band and orchestra facilities across the districts, MAC, and I would say even in the state of Iowa. We are truly beneficial in those sides. So not just in the sporting arena, we have these other avenues for students to go get into. So that's huge, and we need to utilize those.
So I think one thing that I think a lot of people would love to hear about is like, what do buildings look like? Facilities are always tough. Do you have any thoughts on where that goes, or is there anything you've seen that you like that they've done?
Sure.
How does that sort of stack up for you?
That's fair. buildings, we can always, I think, whether it be buildings or humans, we can always have a facade. And I'm not saying we have a fake facade on our buildings. Safety is very important. And the double entryways that are going on the schools and things like that, I'm not saying, those are good. We need safety in our schools. Times have changed to where we have to do that. My problem is what goes on in the walls, inside those walls. What are we doing to grow our children and benefit them? How do we get them on a level playing field where, again, setting an expectation that if you go from grade to grade, here's what you have to do and here's how you hit. Not every child is going to be able to meet those standards, so we need to go work through that and help them on that side. And how do we get them to grow along? The problem I'm seeing right now is we put this facade on the front of our buildings. I can look at a school right now that I can tell you, I feel in my eyes, and I would push this when I hopefully get elected on the school board, we need to look at Mulberry School. We need to look at some growth at Mulberry. We need to look at some, how do we utilize that school and grow it and benefit it like we are all the other schools. Now I realize that when we look at where population is and everything, the money we're putting into Jefferson, the extra expansions that we've done there, those types of things, they're necessary. But I think we're leaving some things unturned that are really beneficial for this community. And I think that needs to be a focus of this school board moving forward.
Well, and it's interesting. You and I talked about this a little bit. You know, we often talk about like in that growth and that stuff, there's a couple of schools that, you know, if you're looking to make those growth changes, you know, to bring in those 10,000 people that come into the district area every day to work but don't live here, there's certain pockets of where that's going to end up or where new construction can go. And, you know, the Mulberry, McKinley, Grant, like that's kind of out in that wedge, so to speak, of Muscatine is kind of where that's most likely to happen.
And while we do need to continue housing the lower income and providing those homes and things for that side of the community, we also need to be growing. We're looking at 3D printed houses coming to Muscatine, right? And it's going to be amazing when those happen. But we need to be doing that now. We need to be pushing and growing that. If we're going to do that housing and get it, we can't just constantly expect a teacher to come and say, I'm going to move to your district, because what you have to offer me are some low-income housing apartments I can get into, or senior living type stuff, right? We need to build this out and grow it for all, I think, in the community.
Well, and I don't remember who I was talking. You know, I went up to Iowa and then moved to DC for a short period of time and then moved back. And this was, let's call it 02, 03, right? Mm-hmm. And even back then we had, like, we moved in with her parents just real quick because we were like, okay, we're moving back. We'll stay with them while we pick a house and figure out what we're doing. A year and a half later, we ended up building because there just wasn't a lot. Yep. So it's a problem that's been around for quite a while. Mm. So here's a tough one, toughest one of all. Mm. If you get elected to school board, what are you looking forward to the most? Like, what do you think will be an enjoyable part of that for Matt Miller?
I enjoy being out in the community. I really do enjoy just talking and getting to know what's going on in people's lives. It's something that I've really found, especially the last few years, that I just like to be, and not that I have to be in the public, I just want to know what's going on. I want to sit down and have conversations with people. I look forward to that. I want to hear what parents are going through. I want to hear their struggles. I want to hear their kind of thoughts on how we think they can fix it, right? I want to go and push parent involvement in this community so much more than what we have today, that we can grow it with their thoughts and insight. If we have a school board full of the same type of people, or if it was just educators, or just, we don't get any insight and we don't break the mold. So I think it's time that we really say, hey, what does that look like? And mine's gonna be outreach to the community. I will continue outreach into the community any way I can. And even if not elected, I'll still be an advocate and I'll still continue outreach to the community so we can continue growing our community as a whole.
Awesome. So, last one. I'm not going to put you on the spot like who your favorite classmate was. We're not going to go there.
Oh, good.
But he's like, yeah, good, because that'd be bad.
It's Justin Siwasik.
Yeah, it's obviously Justin Siwasik, right? Yeah. You know, Adam Wiley might make it too.
Yeah,
you know,
I agree. There's a few.
There's a few. But and now crap. Now I can just crap. I know my phone is going to blow up now. I can think of at least 4. I'm surprised I haven't messaged me yet. Mm-hmm. No, but so what's one thing that the voters may not know about you that you'd like them to know?
You know,
and then I'm going to add one.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. What do they not know about? I'm a pretty open book. I mean, so I feel like people know a lot about me. I think the biggest thing, and unfortunately I've said this before, but it's one that I'm really strong on, is veteran support. I'm not a veteran, but I offer a lot of support to veterans, and building the Muscatine Veteran Network is going to be a large thing in this community. In fact, I'm headed to a meeting here after this, which to go have some more conversation about that, and just really look forward to, when I say we grow the community as a whole, from our schools, from our veterans, from just as a whole, I truly mean that. And I think that's, maybe they don't understand like how deep my heart is into this community, and hopefully they will.
Well, okay, so I'll add one. Something you may not know about Matt. Again, how much do you trust me? You notice he's
I
looking.
sit here like I'm like, man.
He's like, you can tell that, no. You know, every month there is a food distribution that happens out at the district. Started about 2 years ago now.
Well, it was at the high school there prior to, so it's been good 4 years. I mean,
Has it been that
it
long?
was pre-COVID, I think.
Well, yeah, and then and then like during COVID and right after COVID,
Then it moved to
it really amped up. And you are there regular. Are you there? I don't know if you're there every month.
I
but
try to get there
I was
every
gonna say
month.
pretty much. Like every time I've gone by, you've been there. And he's not just there like waving at people, kissing babies. That's not at all what he's doing. He's there slinging food and groceries into cars every month, almost like clockwork, right? I mean, and so that's something that, you know, I know you would never tell people that, and you're probably going to be a little upset that I even said it, but I do think it's something that's important to know, that you do step up and actually go do these things that you talked about.
So I appreciate that. This community means a lot. I've taken a lot from this community in 45 years. I want to give back to it, so I appreciate that. Thank you.
No problem. Is there anything else you'd like people to know before they go vote in a week?
I would say this Thursday, there is a event that you can come join at Proof Social. I believe it's from 5:30 to 7:30, where we have offered all current school board candidates and all new running school board candidates to come sit down and have some time where it's an open house. Come in, ask us, get to really know us. Not just what maybe, you know, we can read or what we post on our Facebooks. Come see us, come meet us, and let's have some discussion. And don't forget, you can get out, you can vote now. And then the 7th, the polls are open. So get out, and hopefully we'll see some of you here on Thursday for that open house down at Proof Social in the side room.
Awesome. Okay, one last one.
All right.
Brian Ferentz, good or bad?
Fire him.
They did.
I know.
They did. Way to go. No, sorry, I knew he'd like that one. Okay, so anyway, Muscatine, that's your show for today. We'll be back tomorrow, and don't forget to go attack the rest of the day with an enthusiasm unknown to mankind.